Okay, the first time I came on, and I noticed that my I wanted to put it I wanted to like stream horizontally rather than vertically. Meaning I wanted to, yeah, not in a portrait form. I wanted it to come off like a video like this, right? So when I did the first one, I didn't do proper dimension. I didn't select the orientation. So that was why I had to cancel that one and came back. So you guys might notice. How are you? I hope I meet all of you in the best of health. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really enjoyed yesterday's engagement, live stream engagement. It was a whole lot. It meant a lot to me, right? And I would really still appreciate these engagements as well. Let me just use lip gloss, I beg. Hmm? At least let me look sharp. Uh-huh. So you can see the topic of the live stream. Mide demands loyalty from Dede. Does Mide deserves any loyalty from Dede? Does she? I have spoken in some of my videos and even some of, yeah, that I sort of question Midi's loyalty towards Dede. And I noticed that there's a relationship about to brew between Dede and Joanna. I think I would even prefer that relationship better. Yesterday, when they were playing their game, though not a game of revelation, but I think just these housemates, they are very creative, though. That's another good thing I will give to them about games and all of that, right? So yesterday they were asking questions, not like seeming not it's not like that game of revelation that they asked each other questions. Now this one, I don't know, but I'll still put them all almost all on the same line of asking questions and answers. So along the line, the question was asked about Midi, that who is the like most boring person in the house, and Zita said it was Midi. God, that thing really angered Midi, right? But meanwhile, like I said, Dede and Joanna have been enjoying one kind of sister mass like that. And I love it for them, honestly, because for the past few days or past few weeks so far, for me, Nide has not really been that. I don't know, there's just something about her friendship dynamic with Dede where it looks like she doesn't really have Dede's back. Dede tells her one thing, that's, let me be more specific, particularly Kola's situation. Her conversations with Kola to me is not in favor of her friend Dede. In as much as she goes back to tell Dede everything that Kola says, does she really tell Dede what she herself she says? That's the question. She goes back, tells Dede the things that Kola said, although she's still useful to Dede. Like, okay, let me don't use that word useful. She's supposed to be a friend, right? So she still tries to tell Dede what goes on in the house, what Kola says, because most of the things that Kola had said or says about Dede has sort of found his way to Mide's ear, thanks to most of the time Bright, because Bright does most of the interaction with most people in the house. So thanks to Bright, he seems to be the one feeding media with most of the information, especially surrounding Kola concerning Dede. Even though Bright too comes off to me like someone that has a little bit of ulterior motive when it comes to Dede's situation. To be honest with you, he also wants to be in Dede's life by all means. He wants to know what is going on with Dede. He wants to know her next move. I cannot say for sure if he truly has feelings for Dede, but I just feel the fact that Dede bruised his ego the first day he came to the house by refusing to hug him, I think is something that Bright is holding against Dede seriously. And there's just something about it that it looks like he wants the girl to feel. There was a time I remember even saying, are you sure he does not have eyes for Dede, but he's just being with Mide by proxy in order to still be kind of close to Dede? But a whole lot, because with these housemates, you can't say for sure. That's what I've just noticed. You cannot conclude for sure that this is it for sure. Sometimes we can only make speculations, right? But for me, the fact that Dede's topic always comes in the conversation between media and Bright is a little bit not what I would want for friendship. Let me make an example. Like no lose guard season. Wani and Handy are twins, right? But conversations between Sean and Wani didn't always have Handy in it. Probably had Onyeka in it one or two ways onto Wani's insecurities, right? But like in conversations where you're always bringing in this third party that happens to be my friend is weird, right? Bright has the right to go and talk to Dede, right? I don't think Dede would give him cold shoulders, but he doesn't do that. Rather, he prefers to come speak with Mide and all of that. So that in that light has sort of made the friendship between Mide and Dede a little bit suspicious, a little bit not too clear. In as much as Mide goes back to tell Dede everything she hears about Dede. Thank you so much. Oh, now Makula Jolie. Ah, we're back again. Thank you so much for coming. So good to have you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I was just discussing the issue with Dede and Midi's friendship because to be honest, when they were having that, they are much in that house. They are so much. They might all be in the lounge, but just because they are all in the lounge, some conversations might be going on, some other ones might be going on, and it might not necessarily synchronize with each other. So when that game was going on yesterday, and um Zita said Mide was the most boring person in the house. It sort of coincided with her conversation with Dede's conversation with Joanna, and they were laughing on a different thing. I don't know if that thing has happened to you before, where you are in a setting, like especially friendship outings like that. It has happened to me a lot, right? Where I'm hanging out with my friends, but somehow you're having a conversation with some other person, and those your friends, they're also having their own conversation, and probably they are laughing, something laughable came into their conversation, and coincidentally your own one-on-one conversation, there's something also laughable. The new media is trending because of boring thing. Me, I've said in one of my video, Namakula, that thanks to her, to Mide's alliance, I think this was even an early stage of this when the show started. I said Dede will be the one that will carry Mide. Like, thanks to Mide's alliance with Dede, is going to take Mide far. Because Mide, without Bright as a ship, what other content does she have? Okay, aside from the fact that she had that issue with Zita, which Zita has shown to her face that she's so boring that she was the one that gave her first highlights. Zita said, that girl, I guess more get bad mouth too. You get, she said she was one. So yes, in those their question and answer sessions, someone asked Zita that who is the most boring person in the house, because they will say who. There was even a question that who is the least good looking female in the house, and they said it was Tracy, and Tracy didn't pick offense, right? So but when they said who is the most boring in the house, and Zita said it was Mide picked offense, and the remaining housemates were laughing. Of course, it was a laughable thing ish. So at that time, Dede and Joanna. And to be honest with you, I pray or I wish that the friendship between Dede and Joanna blossoms. To me, I am more accepting of the friendship between Joanna and Dede because Mide has this. I don't know. Mide has this anti vibe. Most of them there, they gave their fake ages. So when you want to somehow know that they are older than the age they gave, just look at their countenances. Just look at their countenances. Look at the way they carry themselves. From there, you will realize that these people are older than they claim that they are. Because you can see Mide is not your typical Gen Z. She does not really have the typical Gen Z vibe. She's a little bit, I would say, reserved and this. I know I won't use the word discipline, but she's a little bit. So when she and Dede are having their flow, right, as friends, they talk maturely, yeah. But there's this uptightedness. Do you know why I said so? Imagine the other day that Joanna and Dede were talking. They both had a similar interest whereby they said they didn't come to this house to have a sheep, they didn't come to this house. But as soon as they go out, they can go and take enough juice in order to feel succulent and have as much as whatever they want to have, shags, let me use that word, right? That they want to have, but not in this house. Now, Mide and Dede would not necessarily have that kind of conversation where they will let their guards down and feel free. They talk, and even and for me, most of the conversations with Mide and Dede is mostly about other housemates. But I love her conversation with Joanna, just the way I loved her conversations as well with Jason over her conversations with Coin. You understand? You know, vibe, compatibility, flow. Yeah, it plays a role in friendships. I have different types of friends. There are friends that when I'm having a conversation with them, I don't have filter on my mouth. I talk because I know they're not going to judge me. But there are friends that I have to pretend that I am also a good goody two shoes. If you know what I'm trying to say to you guys here. Yeah, it's just that's life. Life is so dynamic. And we have to just squeeze ourselves to fit into different spaces. That's the truth. Then there are friends again that I am with. I am more of a listener. I'll be mute like this, that you even think I don't know how to talk. And I'll allow them to talk. There are friends, Kuma, that I will argue with them. Anything they say, I will counter it, even if they are correct, just for the fun of it. You know, it just depends on how the compatibility comes in. There are friends that even if we correct today, tomorrow I'll still call them. There's no ego there. There's no pride. I don't care. You get what I'm trying to say to you. I'm going to pick my phone anytime I want to talk to you and I'll talk to you straight up. But there are friends that if we correct today, let that malice carry itself to thy kingdom come. So what am I trying to say here, guys? Is the fact that Mide and Dede's friendship to me is a little bit more focused on the housemates than their life in general. Having these few days that Joanna and Dede have bonded, for me, I've gotten to know these girls more. Yeah, what I mean by in their conversations, they're sort of more relaxed to even talk of their lives outside over the conversation between Media and Dede, which is centered mostly inside the house. To be honest with you, at some point, right? Mide and Dede came off like they were equally gossiping Sultana and the rest of them. The difference is that they were not using vile languages, they were not coming from a place of hatred, they were just coming from a place of air. We're talking about them too because we know they are also talking about us, right? But it wasn't coming from a bitter place like Sultana and her cohorts, with their Sabrina and their Doris. No, they weren't coming, but they equally were talking about them. Let's be truth be told. Mhm. But with Joanna now, they are hardly even talking about the people in the house. They're just talking about life in general. They're just so like they're just so comfortable in each other's company. I just see two young girls living off their youths. We're just girls. We're just girls. You know, that's one of Dede's favorite line. I'm just a girl. Joanna too. I'm just a girl. So the girls are just enjoying their girly time, and I love that for them, right? So yesterday, while they were doing that, their talks, their question and answer session, coincidentally, Joanna and Dede were having a conversation where they were laughing, and then Mide concluded that Dede was laughing at her, uh, because of what Zita said, and then she came to confront Dede at the laundry place where she said that Mide said that Dede was laughing with her enemy. I don't get it. See, that's the fact. And I love the fact that Dede said, I'm not going to inherit your enemy. See, even if you're my sister, my blood sister, the same mama, the same papa, I'm not going to inherit your enemy, especially when that your so-called enemy hasn't done anything wrong to me. And especially when that's your so-called enemy, the fallout came from one or two misunderstanding, which is a normal human phenomenon. Why should I be inheriting your enemies? See, I did that in the past and I regretted it. Inheriting people's enemies. I regretted it and I told myself I was never going to do that again. Yes, I would respect our friendships. I will respect our friendship. Not because I didn't see that they're going to share a meal or share a bed or share or have a chit chat with Zita. So to me, Mide saying that Dede is laughing with her enemy is weird. Okay, let's even come down to the level of where Sultana that did whatever she did to Dede. I don't want to talk about it. I don't even know why that their issue. I don't even. I beg. I beg. I beg. I am just. I am from a human point of view. I'm offended by what Sultana did to Dede. But from a judgmental point of view, I rather remain neutral about that issue, to be honest with you guys. And I don't know why. It's just my vibe is not just vibing towards that direction. Mide, I don't think she has cut off Sultana. I think she still talks with Sultana, if I'm not mistaken, right? In as much as I saw some people saying that Mide was dancing with Sultana yesterday at the pool party, but they're really dancing. It's just that, these housemates have something in general, standing in front of that mirror and dancing. So it's just a general place where everybody is standing and dancing. So I didn't see like Mide like dancing with Sultana, passe, but I don't think Mide is not in talking terms with Sultana. So I don't know why Mide is expecting so much from Dede. And if there's anything I hate from friendships like that, is where you're trying to dictate to me. And I love the fact that Dede drew the line. And when Mide now realized that she cannot bend Dede easily, she cannot just use words to manipulate Dede easily. And mind you, Mide is feeling that gap, gradually filling that space between she and Dede, because Dede seems to be enjoying her time with Joanna. And it's fine because coincidentally, see, things are just working for Dede. A situation where you just walk in and things are just aligning in your favor. For me, that is what is happening to Dede in that house. Do you know why I said so? Now, first and foremost, Koini said he's taking himself out of the equation. Um, you guys know the equation I'm talking about. Jason also said yesterday in his diary session with Biggie that he is going to stay away from Dede, that his friendship with Dede has ended, which I sort of felt bad because I really liked Dede and Jason's friendship. Their conversations I equally enjoyed. It was so friendly and it was so natural. I really enjoyed their conversation. And Jason said, and to some extent, Jason for me played even a better role. So Media and they are no longer friends. No, they are still friends. They are still friends, but just that they had a little rift yesterday where Mide was questioning the loyalty of Dede, and it's not like they fought, no, like, but where where you confront a friend, like, how can you be laughing with my enemy? It wasn't like in a fighting or in a malicious. It's more of a confrontational vibe. As friends we confront each other, like, how dare you do this, why would you do that? Just like I told you, there are friends that you have boundaries with, there are friends you don't have boundaries with, there are friends that you instantly air out your emotions at that moment, there are friends that you just let it go and then just behave differently. They weren't really cool because you could even see that they were even doing it in private. They didn't want people to actually notice that they were having issues, right? The way she came and met her in the washing area and was like, talking to her in a hush hush manner, though, but in a very stern manner as well. So it's not like they're in a bad place. No, 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 no. Like I was saying, Kola is still the one who is still hovering around Dede, which even yesterday he came to her and Kola doesn't. I don't know if Kola knows the meaning of boundaries, but he came to Dede yesterday trying to be touchy, and she's like, nah, 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 nah. And I don't know how many things that Kola has said about Dede that is still coming to Dede's ear, because yesterday again, Dede still confronted Kola about something again that he said, that he wished that there were two more people like Dede that had the same kind of, that he wouldn't waste his energy on that. That's why I've said this thing several times, that Kola doesn't really have feelings for Dede. It's all about ego boost. It's all about his ego. I must go for this girl. I don't think Kola has genuine feeling. All the guys that are busy claiming they do not have genuine feelings for Dede. In fact, you see this set of Big Brother house, I don't even think any genuine. Well, let me don't conclude because this is just week 3. This is just the 3rd week, so we never can tell because after the pool party when Telma and Isabella had their clash. You see that clash? I'm glad it happened because there's this invincible tension between Telma and Isabella. Do you understand? And Ebuka's question of Telma last week even made it worse before Ebuka's question, those two girls, funny enough, they are both even Calabari girls. They are all from the same place. So funny enough, these two are supposed to be sisters, but they ended up allowing a man called Kanyikumi to come between the two of them, because if it wasn't Kanyikumi, what else? Like, not a typical love triangle, relationship triangle, let me see, right? But in as much as Thelma is in denial, Kanyikumi was a factor. And Isabella knows that Kanyikumi, because for me, I even feel that Isabella being with Kanyikumi, in as much as she had already been flirting with Kanyikumi way even before the issue where Thelma took him in as a roommate when she won that her less than 24 hours head of house task, there was already some sort of entanglement between Kanyikumi and Isabella. So I wouldn't say Isabella is really fighting for Kanyikumi's attention. But there was just something about Kanyikumi that came in between those two girls. Right. And then Thelma on her own part is trying to, like, will I say, by the side, she talks down on Isabella. She has said it to no one, two, three. She has said it to a lot of housemates that Isabella is not on her ability, is not on her. Said in this direction, they need to evict Mide. Even him, the rude boy, is he really even? I beg. They need to. Why they want to evict the Mide? They want to evict Bride's girlfriend. Why now? Honestly, do you know, to me, Mide has a very fine face and she wears her makeup very fine. Aside from that, she's, in fact, sometimes Mide acts like she doesn't even know what she's doing in this house. Like, sometimes her facial expression carries that vibe of, what am I even doing here? Like, she comes off so absent-minded sometimes. I think the only time I even see some light or some sort of um reaction on her face is actually when she's with her brides. So I think if she gets evicted on Sunday, is in order. Do you know why I said so? Because only her relationship with Bright kinds of give her these sparkles. So the question is, if Bright gets evicted, does that mean that Mide has nothing to offer? And I don't know why Mide strongly believes that Zita is going home because Dambo's kid left. So in her own head, she might be thinking that the viewers are not comfortable with shipping content, right? So probably, I know in the past it has been like that in most Big Brother eviction show, where if there's a ship and the lady gets evicted, the next week the guy is following her, or if it's vice versa. Because I noticed that eviction sort of even scared Kanyikumi, and you can see that the guys yesterday, after the issue that Kanyikumi and Telma had, after the issue that Telma and Isabella had, and Ortega jumped into it. See, I cannot tell. Okay, I think Isabella was having some certain level of confrontation with Ortega, and then somehow it stretched to Telma, and then Telma and Ortega sort of were pounced on Isabella, right? And then the whole back and forth, and then you could see that they are trying to pull Kanyikumi away from Isabella. But the thing is, they don't even know that the Kanyikumi and Isabella content is another selling content outside. Honestly, you see those two people, I like them together. For me, if they separate Isabella and Kanyikumi, Kanyikumi will not have any value in that house again. Like I keep saying, and I say it again, is that most of the men in that house came in with a strategy that is tied to the women. Without the women, most of those men cannot function in that house. That's the truth. If you guys want to accept it, fine. If you disagree with me, it's still fine. I don't have an issue with that. His opinion, and and from the analytical point of view, that is what I see. That Kanyukumi cannot function without Isabella. Okay, even if it's not Isabella, it has to be another lady. It has to be another lady. Maybe the Telma, I don't know. You understand? It has to be another lady. So, to cut the long story short, Kola, after the eviction of Dambo's kid last week, in their own head, they are feeling that viewers are not comfortable with shipping content. So they are trying to pull Kanyikumi away from Isabella, probably in their own head. They don't even know that is that relationship that Kanyikumi is having with Isabella that will keep him in that house. They should just leave that boy there. If they successfully separate Kanyikumi from Isabella, Kanyikumi will be going home soon. Because Kanyikumi have nothing to offer. Look at Kanyikumi now. Sometimes Kanyikumi looks, without Isabella by his side, without those their um public display of affection, between him and Isabella, Kanyikumi is just like one of those furnitures in that house. What again? What else? That's what is keeping his what that's what is giving him relevance. So their color colleague, they are capable. The person that was surprised me too that was trying to give Kankumi relationship advice was Gigi Jasmine. This is a typical example of remove the plague from your eye so that you can see clearly and remove the one in somebody's eye. You, Gigi Jasmine, that seems to be the most victimized, emotional, victimized human being in that house. Hmm? You're trying to give someone relationship advice that you've not given yourself. Oh god, these housemates are so funny anyways. So that yesterday they were trying to like sort of claim that tell Kayukumi that when he's with Isabella, he's not being himself, he's lost, he disassociates himself from the remaining guys, that when he's with her, they don't see him, da, 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 da. But they were now trying to compare his relationship with Dambuski. So if the relationship of Dambuski was really an issue, oh sorry, was really not an issue, but he still got evicted. So I really don't understand what they are trying to tell Kanyukumi, because they were literally telling Kanyukumi that Dambuskid was with Zita, but he still had time with his guys. He still had time to hang out with his guys. But him, Kayukumi, doesn't have time to hang out with them. But coincidentally, in as much as Kayukumi does not have time to hang out with them, he's still in the house, and Damboski that had time to hang out with them is out of the house. So when these housemates are inside the house, it's a different ball game. How they see things is not how we see things, right? So the whole thing, I was glad though that whatever happened, and moving on, let's see how it goes, because I really don't get where Isabella was still telling Kainkumi to choose between she and Telma, which I don't know what is bringing that issue. And the annoying part was when eventually Telma was explaining the situation that caused to the Motega and the rest, was explaining the situation that caused the flare up, which it makes sense why Ortega and Tema were sort of against her, because when you look at it, Ortega has sort of made himself the grill master of the house for their weekend, for their pool party. Now, Selma was now explaining that the chicken meat was sort of short, and there's something I noticed with Isabella. When she wants to eat, she doesn't care who does not have. How only she just wants to have her portion. I know that her portion is not only her portion, it's she and Kayunkumi, so that she wanted the chicken was not complete, and then they had to like try to share it among themselves, right? And Isabella did not care that the chicken was not completed and it was not complete and needed to be shared. She just wanted a full part, right? And that was what caused the problem between she and Telma. Which for me, I feel that if it wasn't Telma that was in charge of that chicken, probably that problem wouldn't have happened. But unfortunately, Telma was there, and there's already a build up between she and Isabella. So it was just easy for everything to just go south. Everyone got triggered and everyone blew up, which is okay. I hope everybody now is at peace. Yeah, let's see how it goes from now. Today is Friday. Okay, today is going to be their wager tax presentation. So basically, that's just it. Let me stop here. Please, if you're watching the replay of this live stream, kindly subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to give this stream a thumbs up. It helps with the engagement. Drop in the comment section. I've asked and nobody has answered me. Probably you guys are not interested in the Telegram or WhatsApp group where we can be dropping clips that will make sense in our conversation. But it's obvious that even without the clips, I think it's making sense, which is good, which is a very good one, because I feel that most of us that come for this, most of us on this live stream, or most of us that watch this content are actually already watching the show. So, which is a good one, right? Because dropping clips of the show on my channel can jeopardize the monetization of my channel, because I've not monetized this channel and I want to really monetize it before this season ends. You guys should help me. I keep asking what time should I come for live stream. Though there was something I noticed when I came on live stream yesterday around 11 a.m. There were a lot of people that were online, so maybe I'll consider that. It's just that I was very busy and I couldn't come online at that time. Yes, so I think I'll try and do that tomorrow. So that, no, like, let me don't go and promise what I cannot fulfill. But let's see if I'm able, if around 11 I'm free, like that 11, 12 ish, I'll come online so that we can talk quickly, because that tomorrow too, frankly speaking, with Glory does her live stream, and I don't like missing her live stream. Yeah. So because in that her live stream, God have mercy, different opinions. For the very first time, very first time I've been following, frankly speaking, with Glory on her live stream, she is just saying, like, me and her just agree on everything this period. I don't know why this season we just synchronize. There is almost no grounds for disagreement. Everything she says is accurate. Like the way I view it, sometimes I'm like, hey, God, when I come to even do my own analysis, when people be thinking that I'm stealing this girl's content, because everything she's analyzing is exactly what I am actually seeing. For the first time, I am agreeing with every freaking thing Glory says. And I'm like, Kilowi, what is happening now? All right, guys. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye. Why are these people playing with this light?